So what's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of me talking about a certain topic. So yeah, today we're going to be here talking about basically what I think about people hating on new seasons coming out for Inazuma 11 because it's basically always happens. I have like a pretty outspoken opinion about this, but you guys know me, I always have one. So yeah, before we get into it all, because y'all already know there's gonna be one heck of a video. Please remember that, of course, around 81% of people who watch me actually are not subscribed. So if you are one of that. If you're actually in that 81%, then hey, consider subscribing because I upload videos every single week and I would love to see you in my comment section sometime. So yeah, like let's just all have this fun. And also I have a Discord, of course, where you guys can also just get into it. And if you ever want to just talk about Inazuma 11 or discuss a certain topic there, you can also drop it in there. And follow me on Twitch as well. Everything is going to be in the description. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the topic. So basically I've noticed throughout the years as a fan of Inazuma 11, and I think this started around when I was 14, so I'm 23, so that's almost like 10 years ago. When I started out watching Inazuma 11, right, I started out, of course, with the first season, and I watched the first season in Dutch, right, and then the second season was not out yet in Dutch, so I started watching that in Japanese, of course, and from there on, I also saw the third season in Japanese and thought, wow, okay, well, this is great, I wonder if there's a fourth one, and then I found out that there was another season, but that was Inazuma 11 Go. And was basically this season that was, it was gonna be 10 years later, and there was a new main character and just entirely a new cast for like the main characters for the anime. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let me actually get into it. So. For the first season for Go, I was quite surprised with basically the vibe of the season, because I thought, wow, everything is like so serious. And like if you want to compare it to like the first generation of Inazuma 11, the first generation of Inazuma 11 had like a tone of seriousness, but a lot of the stuff was very like light-hearted and very chill, and also really easygoing at times as well. Like most characters were pretty goofy as well. Like I'm gonna use a few English names because for some just don't know them in Japanese, but you had like Timmy, Jim, Steve, Max, Sam. Like most of those characters were pretty laid back. Even characters like Jack and also Endo. Then I go into Japanese. Like y'all know the names in English and Japanese, so you can just make out of it whatever you want. But even most of those characters were like pretty chill, like a lot of funny moments and all of that stuff. And then I noticed that like in this season, everything was just like a lot more serious, and I noticed that a lot more was on the line instead of just the soccer club being disbanded and only that. And I do know that a lot of people did not really enjoy that. But then that is when I started noticing that a lot of people also started to compare it to like previous to basically like the first season of the OG one, and then I started to think to myself like, hold up, wait a minute. And now that we go further, because honestly this only happens with the first season mostly of like a new Inazuma 11 quote-unquote generation, because for Chronostones I have not really heard any real comparisons, obviously, because you cannot really compare Chronostones to anything else. It's really something else on its own, and the same thing also kind of goes for Galaxy. You also cannot really like compare Galaxy maybe to like season 2-ish, but because it's like a combination of the concept of what ever you're fighting in season 2 with like kind of like the way of you fighting against the world, not really against the entire universe in season 3. It's just something else on its own as well. And then we go to RS, and here, oh my goodness, I noticed that so many people, obviously because it's like in the same like, how do I say it? It's around like the same timeline, but it's like a different universe. It's like an alternate universe. So you're going to see characters in like their younger forms, of course. And then also some other characters out of nowhere joining in, like of course Nosaka, the new Raymond, Haizaki, the brother of Fubuki actually being alive, stuff like that. And I noticed that just a lot of people were just hating on that season, and I have to admit, like at first I did not like any of the main characters at all, like at all. I think I've said this before also on stream or maybe in like a different video before, that I thought that everyone on that team was ugly, like every single character besides the character who can use Kurinoya, the smaller character, and I think also Norika, but that's like it. For the rest, I thought everyone ugly and bye. Like I did not enjoy anyone. But like me as a person, I don't immediately go say this is absolute trash and terrible and that's it. No, I'm gonna watch the season. I am going to go in with a fresh head. With a fresh head, not with all types of things in my head like, oh, this character used to be this strong and he used to do all of these things. No, they said it's an alternate universe. So that means that a lot of things can just be different. A lot of things can happen. Characters can not be as useful. Some characters might not even really get screen time. So these were all type of things that I was just having in my head like, okay, I'm just gonna go into it fresh. And basically what I've noticed is that whenever there is a new season, a new generation, and you get season 1 for a new Inazuma 11 anime, people just they always, and I tell you, they don't even go back. For example, for RS, nobody went back to like, oh, season 1 of Go used to be like this, blah blah blah. No, they always go back to the OG version, and then they compare like all these characters to Endo. Like the main protagonist always gets compared to Endo. You get the Goenji in there as well. If there's a big character, he always gets compared to Kabiyama, which at this point we kind of like, we have to just already know that there are certain archetypes that Inazuma 11 really just likes to use, obviously, but there will be differences with these characters. Like for example, there's a character like what's it called in Orion, Ichihoshi. He is kind of like a combination between Tsurigi and Fubuki, but he's something entirely on his own actually. Like he has elements, but he's not those characters at all. He does not have Tsurigi's edginess at all, and that is like a big thing about Tsurigi to begin with. And he also does not have like this thing where he how do I say it? Where he, like, I guess, wait, did he? No, it wasn't even that he sort of fused with his brother as well, but he has like his own abilities, and that was kind of like also his own thing, and there wasn't really like an accident and everything. Like basically the well, like the whole accident, you guys know what I'm talking about. Basically, like it's just like a really weird thing with Ichihoshi to begin with, but he's definitely his own type of character, and I do not definitely want to compare him to Fubuki because they are just two very separate characters, and also regarding positions and everything. So but I have noticed a lot that whenever some people are hating on certain characters, they from RS, Orion, and also Go 1, they keep on comparing it to like the previous seasons, and to me, like, that always was stupid, because okay, you will be having this comparison with Tenma, and then also with Inamori, basically being the same as Endo, which in my opinion they're not. That's just that's just facts. They are definitely not. Endo has done a lot of different things from Asto, and Asto has done a lot of different things than Tenma, especially when we're talking about Tenma, because in my opinion Tenma has done way more than Endo and Asto, and that's just facts in my opinion. Like we're going to make another video about that though, don't worry about it. But in my opinion, characters like Tenma, they have similarities, obviously, because they are a shonen main character, and it's like the same freaking anime, you know, like they want to just use the same type of archetype, let's say, but they give certain things in the story. They all have different positions as well. And in my opinion, for example, you will have Endo being like a super determined character, like having a background basically in soccer with his grandpa, obviously, having just very so also learning basically from him through his notebook. That was also a big thing. If the notebook wasn't there, whoa, I don't know what Endo would actually be as a character, because the entirety of the first season is basically him, and even some part of the second season. But like the entirety of his like kit is just based around whatever he learned from his grandfather. Like nothing was from himself. That is the funny part about it. I think besides like maybe I think Fireball Knuckle or something else. But like other than that, like the good stuff that is noticeable about him was all because of his grandfather. Then you would have Tenma, and Tenma would be more of a character that really is just like from like, how do I say it, from a standpoint, as you look at the character, you would say that he is really not that special. But as you would play with him, with the team, and against him, you would really notice that this character is something else on his own. This is also where I was thinking that Inazuma 11 Go was like, in one word, the first season, in one word, refreshing, because the vibe was always like, it's like a new wind, like Tema was always being described as this new wind like blowing through Raymond, which was the truth and which was very accurate, because this character had a type of determination and a type of drive that was, I want to do what in my opinion is right. And whatever everyone else is doing, you can do whatever you want. But I think that this should be the course of action, so I'm gonna do that. And throughout, and with that philosophy, he has carried out so many people, he's carried so many people to his side, to the point where he started a revolution. This is something that Endo has not done. This is something that Aso has not done. So on his own there, you can already say this character is something on his own. And for Aso, in my opinion, Aso is like, regarding like, if we would ever make a tier list, Aso would be like the low, on the lowest side, because Aso is basically just, like a really, really determined player, just like, Tenma and of course Endo, but basically he just has this thing around him where he is just very determined, very creative as well, and does not mind going way out of his way to do certain things, like going all the way to the defense to help them out, working together with very unlikely people, just being like, I felt like he was of course one of the most similar, I guess, to the previous protagonists, but he always had like this certain thing around him where I just like, I could not just be like, oh, he's exactly like the previous main protagonist. So yeah, and then obviously as well, like the other characters that were introduced, Tsurigi was also always compared with Goenji, but definitely those are two separate characters. And the same thing also goes for characters like Haizaki. Whoa, Haizaki is definitely like a character on his own, let me tell you that. And then also Nosaka and Kido, like all just different type of characters, you know. And as well, like I made a video about this once. Norika being compared to Endo in like its entirety, right? While Norika only had like 2 seasons and like 1 season where she was like an actual main character, and that was already like one thing where I thought this is absolutely ridiculous. The power level basically has gone up in every single generation. Like whatever Endo has encountered is something entirely different from something that Norika has encountered, and the same thing goes for something that Shinsuke has encountered. and something that Son Goku has encountered. Like, there are just so many differences in power level here that it's just like you cannot even debate some things regarding, oh, they like, okay, they're a goalkeeper and they did it better. No, there were so many things around that season that made certain characters so different from the other when it's regarding like their performance in games that you just cannot really compare them. So that's why I made that specific video as well, to kind of like just point out, like, most people are talking and comparing and just like saying that this character is trash, while you cannot think about the context of where they are being put in. Norika is fighting against characters in like the same type of setting, like the same tournament, like a middle school tournament, that are using like perfect penguin, a triple blizzard, all of that stuff, while Endo has encountered stuff like Patriot Shot and Tarzan Kick. So I was like, dudes, like, this is just not comparable whatsoever. And then we can also definitely not talk about stuff like Son Goku, because he has encountered characters with machines. So it's just like you cannot compare these things. There are so many things around certain seasons that you just cannot compare. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And people say that certain characters are then either super comparable, but then also in comparison to Endo terrible, or the season itself is just like bad and it used to be way better in like the first generation. Like, I've noticed that a lot of people just go back to the first generation, where I'm just like, it has to be like this nostalgia high, because in my opinion, like, of course, so like, first off, I want to also put out there that I am not this this Go fanboy or this RS fanboy, because honestly, in my opinion, the best season in Inazuma 11 is season 3 of the OG anime, because I think that basically has everything that you want in Inazuma 11 just put into one season. And then after that, I think it's Go 1, and Chronostone and Galaxy is not even like in my top 3 or even top 5 at this point, I think. So not even that I think that those seasons are bad, but like, there are just a lot of other things that I just enjoy more. And in my opinion, Aris and Orion were seasons that, in my opinion, just don't deserve all of the hate that I've seen at times. Like, of course, it's not flawless, but I feel like, in my opinion, those seasons do certain things exponentially better in the first generation, or even in Go. Regarding, in my opinion, for me, the action and the highs. Because I really think that the highs in Orion, for example, are unbelievably high, and I also think that Orion is probably the season that is the least predictable. Like, of course, you would also have Chronostone that is super, well, like in regards to who are they going to really encounter and stuff like that. That is also pretty unpredictable, but I'm talking about like the unpredictability in like moments where you would think you could predict what would happen. For example, with certain matches, especially in like a season that is pretty straightforward, like you are just going to play against other teams from other countries, you know. But just some moments in that season were just so like, what is going on? Like, for example, Last Resort being brought out in the first match, and then out of nowhere, like, you see that characters are actually doing some pretty crazy stuff from, you know, the other teams. Then after that, it's like other characters coming back, like Nosaka, and having like this whole plan being put in. Like, I never expected Grid Omega to being used in like this new team in Orion. I thought, how is this possible? Other characters like Aphrodite coming back, I did not expect that, especially because we had our prior information that Aphrodite was actually, you know, in Fire Dragon, unlike the first season where they went against the world. So I thought, huh, how what, okay. I also did not expect Norika to be back, and like it was, there was just like a lot of things that were just unpredictable around that season, where I was just like, whoa, this is actually kind of crazy. Like there were some things that you could predict, but would not really come out the way they did. And for example, in Grown Stones, I thought that some things were pretty predictable at times, because the flow of certain games were just like the same as the other. It was just basically struggle, struggle, struggle. Someone got a Mixie Max or like a Kashin here and there. They score here and there. Shinsuke is basically doing nothing this match anyways. And then it would just all kind of just like be all dandy, and they would just do whatever they wanna. And for example, the predictability in season 2 was like of the OG one was like not necessarily really there, because I thought that the way that sometimes some characters would really get destroyed like at the start was just to me like, whoa, okay, what's going on, you know? And then after that, you know, like there were some matches that were ties, and then some matches that were losses, and then some good wins. So like the predictability in some seasons was just like not really there, but just like to me, the fact that everything is just kind of like being compared to the first season all the time is to me just like, why can't y'all just think to yourself, this is a new generation, I am just gonna go into it fresh, and that's it, and just let go of your like of your nostalgia rush, you know? Like just let go of that, because it's like a different season. Like we're starting out fresh. Don't go back to the past. Like live in the now. Like look at what you are experiencing now. Like these characters are not the same anymore. It's not the same type of vibe. It's not the same type of people that they're fighting against. Like there are new things being introduced all the time. So look at that. Especially in a season where, of course, like in Ars and Orion, where it's like it's an alternate universe, for crying out loud. Like the fact that you are still like so clinging on to Endo used to be like this, Aphrodite used to be like this. Like I've seen a lot of things around like certain characters that were probably like fan favorites, where people were just like, this character used to be like this and this wrong and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, it's an alternate universe, what do you want? Like like that's straight up what I was thinking at times. Like at that point, if certain characters would be putting in so much work, and then like newer characters would not get as much screen time, it would all be like fan service at that point. Just because a character is in that season and also was in the previous season doesn't mean that they need to have all of this shine that they also used to have in like the previous seasons that they were introduced in. Like for example, to me, I thought to myself, Endo is basically in already like 5 other seasons. Like what else do you want? Like, do you want to see, like, again, the same type of Endo, like, the same type of role, like, putting in the same type of work all the time? Do you want to see the same type of work from Aphrodite, the same way, all the time? Do you want to see it from Fubuki, from Tido, from all these other characters that you have already seen before? Like, like if a character is weaker in an alternate universe, then that makes sense and it should be okay. And why are you clinging onto this old version that a character used to be? Like, for example, to me, one of my favorite characters was Fubuki, and the fact that Fubuki was just a lot less important in Ars and Orion was something I did not mind at all. Like, I was focusing on the characters that were in that season, that were the main characters, and I wanted to see stuff from them. I wanted them to be their unique character that would put in work, and there were so many characters that were different, and I tell you, at first I did not like them, but I started to really grow onto new characters because I went into it with like an open mind, knowing, okay, these characters are not definitely not gonna be the same as the previous ones in the past, so let's see what they bring to the table. And there were a lot of characters that brought a lot of new things to the table. So yeah, that is basically just like my rant on it all. Basically, in my opinion, a lot of Inazuma 11 seasons are just very good, but I am just I was like, it's basically just like more of like a call out to all of the people that have just been comparing it to like specifically like season 1, because honestly, once again, nobody compares Stone to something, nobody compares Galaxy to something. It is always like the first season basically of something, and then Orion, you like they compare like, I guess, the characters that came in. But I just thought to myself, like, guys, like, y'all need to go into it, back into it, like, with like a fresh mind and everything, and just put away your nostalgia, because like, because certain characters really are not the same anymore, and it's and just has to be said. Like, Tenma is just not Endo, which I'm going to make a video about, but like Tenma is just not Endo, and like Inamori, like he's not all of those other characters, and I guess you could like say something like that, like those characters were similar, and obviously because once again, like I said, you have to of course use the same type of archetype, but that does not mean that a character is like just a copy paste. Because some people really be putting it down as if certain characters are a copy paste. So yeah, that's basically just my rant on it. That was one passionate rant, and I did not think that it would actually come out like that, but it did. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed my rant. If you did, please, well, give this video a like, because I would really appreciate it. And also put your thoughts in the comment section below, because I would really love to know what you actually think. Once again, this is also a rant, so I'm probably going to discuss a lot with everyone in the comment section below about, yeah, basically about the topic at hand. And as I also want to say, I do not have any notes or anything about this. This is just like a rant, you know. I just want to talk to you guys, just let you guys know my thoughts, and probably some of you guys also agree with what I'm saying, which then we can also have discussions about that. But yeah, basically that's it. Me just talking about stuff that I think should be talked about, and that I notice a lot regarding hate, because I've basically seen this a lot in comment sections of Aris and Orion episodes on YouTube, or I have seen a lot of people just kind of like hate on the seasons in on Reddit. But I mean, like, Reddit is kind of Reddit, but yeah, that's basically the video. If you are already at this point, well, awesome, and if you are not subscribed, please subscribe, because I would really appreciate that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.